Hey everybody, how are we doing? Look at this. So we have the new Kill Team box, and this one's going to be really exciting actually, because we're going to do something very cool and different with the Space Wolf stuff. But this is a Kill Team Dead Silence. I'm not quite entirely sure why it's called Dead Silence. Isn't that a horror film with a with a puppet? Anyway. Hello, how is everybody doing today? Are we all well? We have, as you can see, we have the new Kill Team box here from Games Workshop, very kindly sent over to me by Games Workshop to have a look at and review and build and paint up. So, what we're going to do is something a little bit different actually, because as some of you may know, as if you've been attending and kind of hanging out in my streams, watching my YouTube videos recently, I have been doing an awful lot of Raven Guard. Yeah, lots of like custom Raven Guard with tons of feathers sculpted on, and all sorts of raven skulls and things. So I thought what would be quite fun with these, after we've had a look through the sprue, is to convert them up as Raven Scouts as opposed to the awesome Wolf Scouts that you get in the box. So it will just be my version of the Wolf Scouts for my Raven Guard. But there is also the Tau in the box. You'll have to check out another video to see the stealth suits reviewed and how to flick through the sprues on there. But we're going to have a look at where are they? They are halfway through. Here we go. So we're going to have a look at the Wolf Scouts, and you can see I've already kind of had a flick through because I've marked which ones I'm going to build. And yes, you do only get to build one of each of the kind of the poses and everything, and these are the two coolest ones in the box. So you can only build one of said coolest ones, unless of course you want to put these arms on a different body. That's also definitely an option. So if you would, if you want to build the Frost Eye out of this box, but you also want the pack leader, then by all means just kind of stick those arms on a different body and kind of pick a pose that you think is going to be cool. But we have a pack leader, a Frost Eye, and then we've got a Fang Bearer who's really cool and has got this kind of carved out, almost like black obsidian knife. We've got a Hunter there as well, and then we have a Gunner with the plasma gun. Another Hunter, a plasma pistol on that one, and then we've got a really cool one. We've got a Rune Priest, another Hunter, and then a Bomber. Where's the Bomber? There we go, a Trap Master, and then another Hunter as well. So you could pick any of these kind of bodies. So he would look quite cool with the was it the Fang, the Frost Eye, with the Frost Eye arms on him. So yeah, if you really want the Frost Eye guy, then by all means just kind of throw those arms on one of the other guys. I mean, it would look quite cool on that one as well. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a very quick flick through and have a look at the sprues now, and then we're going to get to converting, because as you can see here, the wolf skull shoulder pad, we're not going to need that. We're going to replace that with a Raven Skull shoulder pad, etc, etc. Anyway, we're going to make these into Raven Scouts. So let's have a little bit of a better look at the sprues. The sprues, I really like the Wolf Scouts. I think they've come out very well. I've been very critical recently of all the Space Marines looking a little bit characterless, bland and kind of beige in terms of not kind of pushing the character and feel of what they're trying to represent. I thought the Blood Angels were a massive mix. I thought the Dark Angels were okay, but the vast majority of the time you see a Space Marine, it's a very simple, bland Space Marine with maybe a cape and maybe a couple of trinkets hanging off his belt. Whereas these, I think, they have really kind of not exactly pushed the boat out, but really worked on trying to get a little bit more character and a bit more compositional. What's the word? Trying to a little more. I can't get a little more context within the characterization of the models, and I think they're really going to kind of show off on the table as well. We've got loads of little like leather fur pelts over the top of all the backpacks, which looks really cool. We've got a couple of different wolf pelts that hang from the backpacks as well. Now, interestingly, when you are flicking through this, we only get, which is a bit of a shame, we only get one of these backpacks that allows us to put the wolf pelt on the top. So we only get one of these. It says only ×1, we only get one of those. So if you do want to, this is another downside actually, if you do want to build the pack leader that has this backpack, and you want to build the librarian, which as you can see if we flick to the librarian bit, here's the librarian, which also has this backpack, you're not going to be able to. So you only get one of these parts, the actual backpack part itself, which is a bit of a shame. You also only get one of these as well, but that's not so big of a problem because this model uses it blank, and then one of the other bundles has a little pack that goes on the back of it. But yeah, you only get one of these, so if you do get a chance to kind of pick up an extra ones or whatever, then you'll be able to build those from there. But looking at the sprue itself, the sprue is not, it's not what you would say, and this is by no means like critical at all, it's not what you would say impressive when you're looking at the sprue. Like a lot of the times when you're looking at sprues, they kind of jump out at you, and just the sculpting and the detail and everything looks phenomenal on it. The sculpting and the detail does look brilliant on this, but it is all very it's all very flat. The way they're slicing the models now in Games Workshop, you don't get an idea of what the poses are going to be directly from the sprue. Sometimes you can get a bit of an idea, but they are very, very flat in the way they've spliced these ones up. So we really just get to kind of look around at the details are just ridiculous. Again, they're really, really cool. They've done their usual, well, not usual, but what they're starting to do a little bit more regularly now, their spiky fur, which I'm trying to, and I'm getting into a lot more sculpting recently, and I think with all this fur, what I'm tempted to do is, I mean, what you could do actually with the Raven Guard, what I could do with this Raven Guard is paint all these as feathers, which would be quite interesting to see if I could do it, because because the detail on them is so kind of coarse and so harsh. You could probably get away, I'm going to try that actually, you could probably get away with painting a lot of these as feathers. I think that would be quite fun. And obviously because we're going to do Raven Guard, we can cover up these runes or replace the runes with something else. Yeah, I've literally just thought about that, because looking at that hair, it looks like it looks like Sully from Monsters Inc. Just like loads of strands of noodles kind of thing. Yeah, it is a little bit OTT. However, I know why they do it, because it makes it incredibly easy to paint for the kind of the vast majority of painters who can just kind of throw a wash on it, do a quick dry brush over the top, dry brush the top of the shoulders and things, and have a nice little bit of light focus on there. Now, interestingly as well, I do like how long the snout is on the wolf. That's a really, really good long snout. If you have a look at that, I think the wolves that we've seen on some of the other ones, what are the space wolves? The three that like the blade guard, the versions of the blade guard. So there's 3 blade guard with 3 wolves. They've got kind of like shorter snouts, and they don't look great. They look more like wargs almost. I really like the long snouts on the space wolves. I think they look great. But let's have a look at this one. I want to find that frost fang dagger thing. There it is. Look at that, obsidian blade. Now that's going to work really well with Raven Guard straight away. I think that's going to work really well with Raven Guard, and just kind of clean off that Space Wolf skull and put a Raven skull on there. Same with some of these bolters. I think that bolter's very Raven Guardy with a little silencer on the front of it as well. I think that's going to work really well, and I think just generally these are going to work fantastically kind of transferred over to Raven Guard. I do have some really, really cool ideas to make use of all these leather gloves. I think they're going to be fantastic, and we've got plenty of blank shoulder pads, so we don't have to use the Space Wolf ones at all. So we've got plenty of the blank ones that we can make use of. But yeah, they're really, they're really, really cool. And we do have the 2-finger point as well. Pew pew pew. Yeah, they're fantastic. And I did actually. I started building and converting a Raven Guard scout who was like bare armed and trudging through the snow with like bare arms and like the Space Marine chest with like a reverse grip dagger and an axe. And trying to find the bare arms was really, really tricky. And now the pack leader for this one has 2 bare arms, so that's absolutely perfect. So I might try and kind of revisit that converted Raven Guard that I was doing and see if I can kind of bring that back in. But we're definitely going to make use of these 2 kind of bare arms. I want to swap that and have like a reverse grip dagger on here as well. Try not to use too many axes and try and have a few, well, at least one like punch dagger. I think that would be quite cool to have a punch dagger like strapped to the back of one of the gloves, the leather gloves as well. So they are absolutely fantastic. Now what we're going to do, the plan is we are going to convert up this guy. So we're going to convert up the pack leader. So this guy's going to get converted up, and then we're also going to convert up, just for this video, we're going to convert up the fang bearer. And then I'm either going to do the gunner because he's got a plasma gun, and I think the plasma gun will give me a chance to use a beaky helmet on him. I think that would look quite cool on the plasma gunner. Or we're going to build the or we're going to build the librarian. Because the librarian, again, this is going to give me a chance to do like three raven skulls on the top of the top of the staff. Like 1 on the center and then 2 like hanging down with some feathers and everything around it. So we're definitely going to do those first 2. So we're definitely going to do the fang bearer and the pack leader, and then if we get time, we'll do all 5. But if we don't get time, then we'll probably either just do the gunner or the librarian. There's also the trap master, who is also really, really bloody cool as well. But yeah, we might get to him soon. And then if I was going to use this in kill team as a Raven Guard unit or Raven Guard kill team, I would probably replace the wolf with a really like large demonic, not quite demonic, but like very, very Warhammer 40,000 huge gigantic like raven. I think that would be quite cool. So maybe one of the Aether Wings from the old Aether Wings from Age of Sigmar or something. But if you have any other ideas on what I could replace count as and swap in for the wolf in the kill team, let me know down in the comments below. Yeah, it's going to be really, really good fun. We're going to have lots of opportunity to sculpt some hair because I don't really want to kind of play around with a lot of the beards that are on here. So we're going to kind of play around with some long hair rather than beards, and try and find some bald heads that we can play around with. There's a fair few in here that we can definitely make use of. I mean, that one will be quite simple, just to remove the top knot and just sculpt some hair kind of flowing down a little bit towards the back of the head. But yeah, let's get involved, let's get sorted. What we're going to do first is we're going to build the bodies. So we're going to build the bodies of these. We're going to clean up anything that we don't need so that we've got some nice blank canvases to work on, and yeah, we'll see where we go from there. This is very much going to be not exactly spitballing, but I'm going to be converting and sculpting as I go. I've got kind of some little plans in my head on where we want to go with this. The obvious and easy one is I really want this. Where's it gone? I really want the where is it? I can't find it quickly enough. I really want the shoulder pad that's got the Space Wolf wolf skull on it to be a huge raven skull. I think that would be really, really cool to sculpt on top of that. I can't, there it is. So I really want to do a huge raven skull on a shoulder pad and strap it to the shoulder pad. So that's going to be something that's going to be really, really cool to play around with and sculpt. So yeah, right. Thank you very much, everybody. Let's get building. just a very quick intersection, if you like, on once now I've built these are absolutely fantastic as blank canvases. You've got if you haven't got very intrusive chest emblems or anything on them, there's maybe just like a little gem on the belt buckle which you might have to or might want to sand off. Here are the other two as well. So yeah, really cool blank canvases which we're going to be able to take pretty much anywhere we like. So if you want to convert up some scouts for other chapters, they'd probably be really good White Scars scouts as well. Just simplify them all up. Yeah, they're fab little kind of blank canvases. First things up, I always like to do this when I'm doing little poses and conversions and things. Get some blue tack or some poster tack or whatever, and pose and angle and move them around, move all the limbs and everything around, because then that leads you to where you want to cut them as well. So it's really useful for conversions and things like this. One of the things I did know that I wanted this little dagger in a reverse grip, so I went and had a look at all the sprues, tried to find one of the gloves in a reverse grip. Now the leader has only got these little wrist wraps, so I thought it'd be quite cool to give him some gloves anyway. Give yourself some room when you're doing these cuts as well. So I don't cut these exactly where I want the joint to be. As you can see there, I want a little bit of overlap. So I do this, again, this is something that you should try and do all the time, as long as you don't need to kind of keep the other part as well. And like even when you're cutting on this one, like there's not a problem holding, and there's not a problem keeping the other knife blade and everything. That's absolutely fine, but just give yourself some room to then be able to sand them back and trim them so that they then fit. Don't try and make that first cut straight away. The pommel needs to fit as close as you can to the thumb, so that's just trimmed right back on against the thumb there. And then you've got a nice easy glue spot for the pommel. That was just pulled off just a random sword that I had lying around. And then I really wanted to use, I found this sword on the Horus Heresy sprue when I was doing my Raven Guard for Horus Heresy, and I thought it was really cool. If you trim off the little bit of the hilt, it makes a really nice little smart sword. So I thought, oh, I'll use that one. But actually it ends up being a bit too long, so as you can see here, the bayonets that come on that sprue are actually absolutely perfect for little punch daggers, some little tiny combat daggers. They're perfect sizes, I think, for I mean, they don't need to be too big. That's one of the things with the Primaris and Warhammer 40,000 in general. Like a lot of the time, the weapons get rather large in scale. It's one of the reasons why I like the new Imperial Guard is so nice, because the weapons are so fine. Right, anyway, these are all the bits from the Raven Guard like accessory sprue, and I didn't really know what to do with this front hand, and I thought actually what you could do is just have him holding a little trinket. So I picked a really cool trinket. There's nothing more iconic for Raven Guard than holding two raven skulls, right? So and the natural hole in the bottom of your hand there, where your fingers wrap around, was absolutely perfect for that, just to kind of sit up into. So drop a glue, and then let that set and properly rest. Now this is some green put. Now what we're doing, this is 50-50 milliput and green put, milliput and green stuff. However, the green stuff has probably got a little bit more yellow in it than blue, just makes it a little bit more sticky. That's my Garfield pencil case that my sister got me for Christmas, which is really cool, which now has all my sculpting tools in it. So grab a little bit of the green put. I like the green put. I'm also using Tamiya QuickType a lot at the moment, but I like the green put because it's not the problem with green stuff, and the problem that I find with sculpting with green stuff is that, like a beginner and not a very good sculptor, is that it's very elastic. So you try and put a mark in it, and it doesn't really take. It just kind of bounces back. The milliput seems to stop that, and it helps kind of blend it all in as well, and the milliput also gives it some sandability as well, and that is absolutely essential when you're not a very good sculptor. So I'm not really that good. I put a lot of effort and time into it, and it's one of those things that if you put if you don't try and do things quickly, there's actually a lot of, like, if you take that approach of just taking your time, there's a lot you can do with things like painting and sculpting and things like that. So you can see a little bit of Tamiya QuickType on some of the armor seals, but the rest is all milliput or the green put, and this is where they all sat. That's Tamiya QuickType on his armor seals. And then I also filled in all the gaps on the torsos as well, on the chest plates, with the milliput green stuff mix. And then we get a little bit more sculpting. So honestly, it's really simple. This is just a sausage of Tamiya QuickType, and then you just manipulate and push a few of these little shapes into it. It's not that difficult. Again, it's one of those things that you kind of take your time with. Now, Tamiya QuickType can also be sanded and carved and once it's dry, which again, it makes such a difference to when you're sculpting and you can't quite get something in the right place, or you want a certain finish. Like, I wanted a bit more of a bony finish on this rather than the smooth finish you get when you're sculpting, or at least that you get when you're like a beginner sculptor. You haven't got the skills to put that little bit of texture on there. So I thought once the QuickType is dried, I can just kind of carve it away a little bit more with a knife, and you'll get some little kind of bone marks and bone texture in there. And yeah, I think it worked really well. So this is the end result. Tamiya QuickType sculpted down, and then just removed a little bit with a blade. Wipe it all away with some water to get rid of all the dust, and then a little bit of post attack again just to get the angle right. The angle on this one is actually pretty spot on, and yeah, he's really cool. Now I did want to absolutely cover this with trinkets, so it's I made sure most of the models had at least like one trinket somewhere on them. There was one that had like loads. There was a special one that I wanted loads and loads of trinkets on, but then the rest of the trinkets just went on this. It's just drop them on. Drop some mech pack. This is the mech pack glue that I use, and just keep adding trinkets all the way around this. I just wanted it covered, and then also that helps not having cleaned up and tidied up the cut on the staff. As you can see on the back there, it's a right mess. So it also helps hide all of that. The skull on this one, I wanted it strapped to the forestaff, so in the same way as I did the little straps around the leader's hand that was holding the trinket, I did rolled out some tiny little sausages and strapped the skulls not only to the staff but also this skull here. So this was done in exactly the same way, and just kind of left to dry. This one actually snapped off, which was annoying. It snapped off the shoulder pad, so I just super glued it back on again, let that dry, and then I can start carving it away. But it did allow the kind of the undercut to be really good, and the undercut of the beak kind of like hanging out. So these are the two tools. This is from Valborn on Instagram. If you don't know Valborn, you need to go and follow him on Instagram. I'm sure you all do, but I'm on his Patreon to kind of learn and improve my sculpting as well. And yeah, these are the two tools that he recommends, and he does it incredibly well. There's actually a video on YouTube you can go and watch him sculpting some hair, and he does it so well. And I tried to kind of replicate it, and it just turns into a little bit of a mess. But again, you can just kind of push and pull and tear the green put as much as you can, and you get some really nice shapes. Start pushing some little bit of hair texture in there. Again, you can do a lot of the hair texture in painting, so you just want some broad marks in there for the hair. And you can also use a little bit of water as well, just to kind of reactivate it. Softens it bleeds. It's another reason why you can do this green put mix. It's really useful. The water kind of softens and bleeds into the milliput. It absorbs it, and it just kind of reactivates it and softens it so that you can manipulate it again nice and easily without it cracking. It's really useful. But yeah, so just keep tip-tapping away, making these little marks and lines and textures, and you will end up with a reasonably cool, I think, looking hair. Okay, so they're all finished in terms of sculpting, at least. So we've got all of them done. Now, the whole kind of inspiration and the point of this was down to The librarian with the wolf skull on his staff, and I was like, well, I could just replace that with a massive raven skull. That would be cool. And then exactly the same with the I think it's the, is it the Frostblade? Anyway, it's the one with the wolf skull strapped to his shoulder pad as well. I was like, well, I could kind of shift that aesthetic, and I think there's, if you kind of explore and go down this avenue with Raven Guard as well, I think there's a lot of aesthetics that you can actually just kind of cross over. I think it's quite cool. So here are the Raven Scouts as we've kind of converted and sculpted. Obviously the easy thing is just kind of throwing loads of little trinkets on from the Raven Guard accessory pack, but I really wanted to kind of go into the sculpting a little bit more. The strapping on this one is still a little bit wobbly. I might try and clean it up a fraction with some scraping with a knife or something just before I get them primed. You can see it's just I think I could have made it a little bit thinner when I was rolling it out, rolling the strapping out, but I think it's pretty cool. The hair, I quite like the hair. I'm not entirely sure it suits the face, and it's a little bit kind of wafty, but also it is kind of cool. So I'm kind of happy with that. It looks cool. The same with the hanging raven skulls on here as well. The strapping on that one, I could have made the strapping a little bit thinner. Same thing again. It's just trying to get that initial roll out as thin as I can. It's quite tricky, but yeah. Other than that, I think he's properly cool. Filled in all the runes on the back, and just wanted to make sure that they were blank. I might kind of freehand, like, I don't know, freehand a raven claw or something on the back of those. But yeah, so there's the leader. That's the pack leader. He's got his reverse grip dagger. That's just a bayonet from the Horus Heresy sprue, as you saw. So that's looking pretty cool. And yeah, we've got I've pulled out a few of the teeth, a few of the wolf teeth. I just thought it kind of fits with the raven, kind of Raven Scout idea as well. So a few of those have been cut off the sprue. You get loads of them on like the little cross sections that go on the chest piece. You get loads of them like hanging around all over the place. So I just cut a few of those off and put those on there. They are something that Valborn has done tutorials for, so I'll probably try and sculpt some of those little teeth as well at some point. But that's the pack leader. We've then also got the librarian. The librarian is here. Again, he was the second of the inspiration because of his wolf skull on his staff, but this just gone absolutely OTT on this one. I sculpted the skull. Again, I'm sorry that I didn't get any. I didn't get much footage of recording that. The software that I used to record the videos had a bit of a paddy fit when I was recording this one for some reason. So, but you saw me kind of scrape away and add a little bit of detail and texture to it, and then I just absolutely covered it with hanging trinkets. We've got plenty of feathers, plenty of raven skulls hanging off here. I think it's looking great. So he's really cool. And then he's got his rune, and then I hung a claw off the side of that as well. This rune I'll keep on. I'll try and make that rune like a little bit of a glowy one. And then I really like this head actually, and this head is actually the inspiration for this hair that I sculpted on here, because once I cut off the spike. This is I don't know which head it is, but it's a head that's got a spike on it. Once I cut the spike off it, it looked like he's got like half a shaved head, and then the like emo hair, if you like, just kind of falling away on this side. So I think it looks really cool. Just add a little bit of texture on the top with some leftover putty from when I was doing the skulls. So that's this guy. He's got a little bit of a pelt. Down here I also added a dagger in its sheath on his calf as well. And then he's got a pouch on the back as well, just for some more little runes or something that he might have. So yeah, that's the librarian. I tried to keep him as kind of as simple as I could in terms of decoration on his chest. I am getting a sheet of pewter this week, so maybe at some point I'll add some rivets towards the outside of the chest, like this guy's got. This guy's got loads of rivets on his chest. This guy's awesome, actually. We'll go through this guy next. So this is the guy. I just thought he's awesome. So he's got the big the Stalker bolt rifle. He's got a bit of a silencer on the end of it as well, and I don't know what it was, because I gave him the helmet. I thought, well, this guy's just going to end up with just everything hanging off every single inch of his armor. So he's just got trinkets and weapons and pouches just absolutely everywhere. He's got some grenades on his shoulder pad. He's got some fur on his shoulder pad. This is the skull. That's the helmet from one of the Horus Heresy Praetors, and I just kind of cleaned up the halo that goes over his head and replaced it with some flowy hair, and then just more trinkets hanging off his shoulder pad. We've got a little pouch on his shoulder pad as well. That's a larger shoulder pad because I think he was just looking a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger, so I added a normal Space Marine shoulder pad onto there, and that will look really cool with the Raven Guard chapter symbol on there. Again, filled in the runes on the bolter, so we don't need those showing off. I've still got to sand this one down. This one's already been sanded down, as you can see. It's just the runes which are left, so I need to sand this one down before I prime it. And because I thought it would be rather funny and a little bit of a stab in the back, he's standing on a wolf, standing on a wolf head as well. So yeah, I just thought that would be funny. So apologies to all the Space Wolf players out there, but these are Raven Scouts, definitely not Space Wolf Scouts. So yeah, I just think he's looking cool. Again, filled in his chest plate. Tried to keep all the chests nice and smooth for potential, like I've got the potential to add some transfers on there, maybe an X1X transfer. There's plenty of other transfers on the Horus Heresy sheet to play around with, so he's really cool. I'm going to try and add loads of transfers onto these in terms of like little icons or chapter symbols on their knee pads and things. And then we've got this one, and I made sure I added the blade on his person somewhere, but because he was the Fang Bearer, I thought the Fang Bearer was like not like the iconic Space Wolf character, but one that's very linked to Space Wolf lore. So I thought I'd add and really kind of push this one to make him as much Raven Guardian as I could. So he's got Caven Shrike's claw and Caven Shrike's pistol. I've got loads of Caven Shrike spare, so I've got pistols and claws coming out of my anyway. I've added the lightning claw on there. Put a little bit of cord around it just because, and then he's got some fur on his shoulder pad. That was mainly just to cover up the massive gap, because he ended up with a massive gap on his shoulder in his shoulder there, because I wanted to roll back that arm and just kind of open up the claw a little bit. And then, like I say, I've added the fang, if you like, down there, and yeah, the pistol's really cool and it's really iconic, and I like the feather that's just hanging off it. So yeah, he's cool. And then we've got a raven skull on there, and a raven skull on there as well. That one's a little bit big, but it's all good. And then sculpted some really simple hair. That's the same hair actually that I sculpted on my Horus Heresy Praetor. I just thought it came out really well on that one, so I thought I'd do it the same on this one. Exactly the same. Just put a coat of putty on there, roll your knife down the centre, and then just pull the end so that it gets a little bit of a curl on the end of the hair. So yeah, so that's that guy. I think he's looking really cool as well. And then the last one, which is a little bit less kind of Raven Guardy. I've not really kind of pushed this one that far, but he's got. I thought this hair was hilarious. I thought this hair was going to be really suitable, because I imagine him having like the same kind of length hair as this, like really long Raven Guard hair. But because he's the trapper, an explosive expert, his hair's just like just exploded, and he's just like if he wasn't going to have black armor. Because he's a Raven Guard, I would try and do him like just covered in soot. I don't know whether I can pull that off in painting now because he's going to have black armor, but we'll see. And then he's got the trap stuff hanging off the back of his backpack as well. So the only little bit of Raven Guard thing on here is I added a trinket to his chest, and that's just about it. So he's not particularly Raven Guardy, but yeah, he's particularly cool. So there we go. That's all the whole kill team all finished up, ready to get primed. He's got a bit of a raven skull on his base from the skull sprue, and yeah, they're going to be really, really cool. I'm looking forward to painting these. They're going to look great. So thank you very much so far, and if you want to tune in for the painting video, then feel free. There'll be another video coming along very, very soon showing these painted as well. There we go. I love this guy. I think this guy's really cool. Just OTT on the trinkets on his staff. Thank you very much. Right, thanks very much, guys. Take care, and I will see you next time.